Macmillan Audio presents Cold Snap by Allison Brennan. Read for you by Kate Udall. Part 1. San Francisco, Saturday, December 22nd. Chapter 1. Patrick Kincaid had a problem. He couldn't say no. Whatever was asked of him, he did it, usually without complaint. He was amicable that way, and his friends and family knew it. He didn't mind helping out. If he could do something for someone, why not? He had a challenging job he liked, a family he loved, and a few good friends who had stuck around, even during his 2-year stint in the hospital sleeping off a coma. Life was too short to be stingy with it. But this time, as he circled the arcane San Francisco streets, which seemed to have no methodology, looking for a parking place in a dense fog, he wished he'd said no. He would have if anyone else in the world had asked him to drive 2 hours out of his way, which took 3 because of the inclement weather, to hunt down a family friend he hadn't seen since he graduated from high school, except at her father's funeral. He'd have found an excuse, or found a replacement. Except it was his mother who had called, and Patrick had never, not once, said no to his mom. His older brother Connor had told him, often, that he was Mom's favorite because he was her yes man. His job was to bring Elle Santana home for Christmas. Elle Santana. The girl who'd staged a sit-in sophomore year in high school to protest the expulsion of 3 students who she thought hadn't had a fair hearing with the school board. The girl who'd been arrested at 17 for organizing a rave in an abandoned warehouse in downtown San Diego. The girl who'd been suspended for skinny dipping in the high school pool. Patrick was 3 years older than Gabrielle, but she'd done more her freshman year, both good and bad, than he had his entire 4 years of high school. It didn't help that Patrick had dated Gabrielle's older sister Veronica during their senior year, and Gabrielle had often tagged along with Veronica to his baseball games, and even on a couple of would-be dates. The problem was that Gabrielle had called her mother 2 days ago and said something had come up at work and she couldn't come home for Christmas. Now, she wasn't returning her mother's phone calls, or those from anyone else in her family. They were worried. And because the Santanas were worried, Rosa Kincaid was worried. And if Rosa Kincaid was worried and called on one of her children for help, the worry fell onto them. In this case, Patrick. "You're already in Sacramento," his mother had said. "It's not that far out of your way to help the Santanas." She had to have sensed the hesitation in his tone because she gave him the hard sell. And the guilt. Irish Catholic guilt, compounded by the fact that he had a Cuban mother. No one said no to Rosa Kincaid. After 15 minutes of driving around in widening circles because there seemed to be no street parking in the vicinity, he finally squeezed the rental car into a spot 4 blocks from Gabrielle's loft in a converted warehouse off Howard Street. At least he was driving in a flat area and not the insanely steep hills that made up so much of the city. Patrick pulled up the collar of his jacket against the cold, damp air as he walked briskly down Howard. Lighted garlands wrapped around light posts were the only visible reminder of the holidays. This was a business district, and the thick fog...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?